we are all waiting for that utility bull run. You have aligned your portfolio to enjoy this utility bull season. The targets can vary as no one knows the future. We don't have that magic ball to look at and say, yes, we are going to reach here precisely. However, even the conservative targets, conservative study of these price fluctuations puts us 1000x our money, the capital. That's actually a huge step to see. And why I say you that the utility bull run is closer than you think? Look here, it's clear. Read between the lines and you will understand why it's being clarified. If they don't look at these and read between the lines, you won't understand that. They are out of business if they don't do this, because the competition between them is bringing the utility, and that utility is being driven towards this. Now within this bull market, you are getting more and more clarity, and then the flag off of those bulls, SEC is prepared and the shots are being fired, and that's cool, right? That's cool. And at the same time, an update pops up in Payments Canada website. Now, exploring these, you will need to go through different documents. So I'll need your attention focused here for the coming few minutes. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Now focus here as we go through all of the different documents which will be connecting you to this reality. Now yes, some may argue that, see, that document is from 2015, see, that document is from 2017, it's from 2018, 2019. Give bullshit to those guys. Yeah, I'm taking you through something which is from 2015 and walking towards 2020. You are getting different milestones, and each of those milestones are going to take you till the conclusion. If you start a study, you need to go through all the different milestones to reach that conclusion. You won't just jump into that conclusion the next day. So we'll have to check at what the real-time rail looks like, what the real-time payments of the future looks like. It won't just be the real-time messaging, it will be messaging and the settlements together. So let's actually detail through that. So while going through this for XRP, I will also highlight if you have any other asset than XRP, say Bitcoin, Ether, or any other assets, XLM, whatever it be in crypto, and others like silver, gold, Forex. If you have any other financial product in your portfolio, you can use or reach out to me via the Patreon, which will allow you to unlock more value for your portfolio, knowing what's happening in the market through the language of technical analysis as well as the fundamental analysis. Now let's roll on. So the first one is from the Volante website. If you go to Volante website, you can see this one. Volante Technologies launches accelerator for bank integration to Ripple's distributed financial technology. Now wait there, don't just say they're going to just use that DLT, not the digital asset, because I would take you guys to the downside and highlight this. They are looking for solutions to quickly and easily integrate to this new distributed ledger based multi-currency settlement solution. So they are talking about settlement, not just the messaging system. They are talking about the settlement system using what? Ripple's DLT. Now what Volante is doing here, they're pushing this as much as possible. Now this is back in 2016. They're looking from New York, London, Dubai, Mexico. Now look at all of these corridors. Now it's coming live. Just the New York has to actually go on. So it's clear that we've been walking through this road from a long time. Now what is the changes here? Now that's Volante, right? Then look at this one. Volante and BNY Mellon team for Paytech innovation. So they are coming together and they are moving with a new financial product for payments. So that was BNY. Now, then you come here and see the clearinghouse makes history with new US payment system. So what is it really about? Because when you look at that article is from 2017, back in 2017. Now, why do I highlight that? Because they expected outcome by that time, 3 years back, was by 2020, and this is 2020. We are at the end of that. So we really need to know what happened in 2020. What was the actual outcome compared to what they expected back in 2017. So this infrastructure which they are laying out, and they expected that to be completed by this time. So RTP, which is the real-time payment, was designed and built through the collaborative effort of the clearinghouse, of 25 honor banks, blah, 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 and the Federal Reserve. Now, when you come down, you actually read through this and understand, they talk about VocaLink, MasterCard, and other stuff. Their connection with these setup of real-time payments. Then you come here, the FIS and the clearinghouse joins force to bring real-time payment for US banks. And look at the date. It's 24 September 2020. So we started back in 2016, 2015, 2016, 2017. And this is how it evolved. This is how they reach here. So the RTP is open to all US depository institution with a goal of reaching ubiquity by 2020. So it's stating not bank, all the depository institutions. It can be in crypto, it can be in commodities, it can be any financial product. If you're acting as a custodian, you're going to get that. And then this time you get this one. That's cool. Crypto custody for banks. These are all being rolled out, and Ripple highlights this in their website. So where does that take us? Ripple pointing their fingers towards the real-time payment. And this is also in the same time period. You have to see June 22nd, 2020. And here, if you read through that, you'll easily understand, the actual reality which is based on for Ripple's DLT and how they look at the settlement messaging and all. We actually know that in detail, so we won't actually jump much into that. Instead, we will look at the same concept, the same theme, where they are leading all of us towards this financial infrastructure. Then you come to this one, and they still highlight. Now this is from Payments Journal, so they kind of highlight what Ripple was saying. So they are echoing the same system, right? There is a trouble with the current system. Now, even if you look at the ACHs and all, it's like 40-year-old system. Even if they want to upgrade, they need to move on to a new infrastructure to get that ability. Now, scientifically speaking, you'll have to go through all the different articles and look at who is working on this particular stuff. That stuff I meant is the real-time payments. So if you look here for the real-time payments, again, Bank of America is working on that. So Bank of America works with Ripple. And this article gives you different reasons why it can be on Ripple's DLT and XRP ledger being the settlement ledger. So if you go through, you can actually see all these real-time payment solutions. The talks about that, the connection with different fintech and then the Federal Reserve. And when you go back into these documents, which we read through right now, you will understand why it is becoming so important. What is the role of these companies and how these financial institutions with central banks like Federal Reserve is evolving towards this area which we are watching right now. So that gives us a lot of perspective about the same. So if Ripple is to be used for that, as Ripple executives and even CEO, the Brad stated previously, you can see it's being used from your side, but the customers won't even know that their system is being used because it is a back-end mechanism. In the front end, the bank will offer you some, online banking stuff which looks like it's built above the brick and mortar bank itself. But still, at the back end, the processing for the settlement, precisely for the, just reducing those reconciliation and all the friction and additional cost related to the payments would be pushed to the downside and flushed because they are going to adopt Ripple's system. Now, World Economic Forum highlighting Ripple's XRP, which will be most relevant while the CBDCs are rolled out. Now, why do you want to compare with this? Because when you look at the payment system, the real-time payment system in different countries, let it be in Canada, let it be in US, all of them would be using their digital fiat in the near future. So it really becomes important that we talk about what happens to these settlement mechanism when those are rolled out. That gives us the tunnel. We were walking through that tunnel, and now we understand there is a chance that that is the light which we are looking at, and that is the final thing which we want to see. But walking and reaching there may take time. How many of you have that patience to shut up and walk through that lane to take those profit? Because when we talk about profit, after looking at all of these fundamentals, some point towards $20 XRP in 2020. Now, time period for me is not like that. I would actually look at the market cycle instead of just looking at a particular time period. Now, when we say 2020, yeah, it does feel like, everything is happening. So MasterCard, VocaLink, and clearing and settlement solution for real-time payments, great. All those stuffs are cool. 2020 is a landmark for open banking, and 2020 is also being called out as the year of digital assets. Is that a coincidence? I don't know, but it kind of gives us the real perspective, right? It is really happening. Now, if you look at updates regarding what is happening in the market right now, that gives you kind of a little bit more direction towards where we are headed. But when we talk about the profits, we really need to look at the charts and understand what we are talking about. The magnitude of volatility ahead needs to be understood. Otherwise, the whales, the manipulators are going to kick you out in a huge manner. After 6 or 12 months of that, you would be disappointed to yourself. So this is just a perspective laid out from my end, in which, I kind of agree with the calculation and the theme created by Ben previously. I have brought this up once, but now I'm bringing it up to compare it with other stuff. Say here, when it moved in the market cycle 150,000%, say 1,500x, around 1,450x, if that is the first wave of this impulsive move, usually the second wave is always equal or higher than the first wave. Usually it's more than the first and last wave. So it should be at least 195 and walking towards 250, 300. Now I haven't plotted that here. And then there would be a correction. It can reach around $10 to $12 even if that goes that much high, and then pump towards the next one. So that is just the elite wave being put into perspective to show the magnitude of the fluctuation. Now that was one of the positive, at the far right end, looking at it in the positive view, it was like that. Now if we move to the other side and be conservative in a huge manner, put those, weights on your shoulder and say, okay, wait, I'm gonna relax and look at it just based on history. I won't say the fundamentals are gonna push it 10 times what had happened last year. Now for me, basically speaking, looking at the fundamentals, yes, the rails are being built and the financial products which are the train to run about it is also being prepared. With the CBDCs coming out, the rollout would be starting at that point. So that clearly makes whatever happened back in 2017 should be 10 to 50 times this time. Okay, being conservative, we can put that aside and look at this. So if we look at this, generally people kind of just plot this and bring us somewhere here. So what are we really looking at? A $3 XRP, a $16 XRP, a $130 XRP. It can fluctuate between these levels, right? The 130 can even go towards 195. Because in terms of percentage, that won't be so huge because XRP does that eventually in the bull market. So that's not a big deal. But where will this all start? All of this has to start from a break here. We've been traveling in this trend from some time. And if we get a break above this, then a close there and a continuation, say bounce back. It can be, if you're trading right now, buying here, it's cool, just watch it grow. But if you are looking for a breakout and then buy after the close and a confirmation, say a bounce back, a retest, you can buy there. Now if that's not the perspective, you are not that short term guy to go into a 4-hour chart and look at things, you can either move into a daily chart. Say you are a medium term, short to medium term trader or an investor looking at that kind of time frame, say 3 to 9 months. So in that aspect, you can look at a daily chart and say, okay, we've created that support level here, which is really strong, say around 0.23, 0.2. Now we've been bouncing towards this particular level, which was the resistance or is currently acting as a resistance as we speak. But it seems if you zoom in and look at the price, you can actually see that the price is respecting that area, but now it's turning a little bit flirty. If it is pushing the price above this level, which we have actually plotted here, it shows that the breakout to 0.28, then 0.2, 0.3 is coming soon. But looking at it on a short to medium term, you should be looking at a pump to the upside, a correction, again a pump, a correction with these support resistance levels. So that kind of takes you towards this 0.32 level on a shorter period. Now say you are not that short to medium guy, instead you are a medium to long term guy, meaning you would be trading or investing for at least 6 to 15 months. For me, that's that time period when I call it medium trade. So in that one, I would be looking at a 3-day chart, and the 3-day chart shows me the possibility of that, mad bull getting up and starting to run. Why? Because if I look at this green line is the 200-day moving average. Now the price is going to close above that. Now you have to understand, previously we have done that only 2 times in last 3 years, and both of those times we were kind of at the peak of that wave in that shorter time frame. So one is like this. I'll actually take you to the real chart, then take you to the 3-day chart to show you what I'm really talking about. Say one of the aspect is here, then the other one was here. Both of those time, this was a dead cat bounce or the change in trend from this bear market, where we reached about that 200-day moving average around the high of that one. Again, same here, around the peak of that. Now it's different. We are correcting to the downside. We haven't even started that up movement, the markup in this shorter time frame, short to medium time frame. So looking at it on medium to long term, it's clear that we are going to reach 0.3, a little bit of consolidation or even a direct breakthrough, and reach around 0.4 to 0.5. So that is medium to short term. But do understand, when the price does that and reach this level, the FOMO will kick in, and I expect it to even reach around 0.7 to 0.8. So that is what you should be looking on a medium term. Now, if that is happening like that, then you are looking at the same item on a longer time frame and saying, no, I'm actually a long-term investor. Here, because of the technology, it is changing the financial services in the world. A new infrastructure is being laid out and it's going to be adopted. Then I turn out like this, a long-term investor, and look at it on a weekly or monthly chart. Right now, this is a weekly chart. If you look at this, the price is breaking to the upside after this checkmate here. That's a bullish checkmate. So we were actually coming to the downside, correcting a bit, but bulls defended that particular level. That was the 50-day moving average on a weekly chart, and now the price is moving. So the movement can be up to the 200-day moving average, which is laying around 0.36, 0.37. But immediately we have this resistance here, which is around 0.31, 0.32, that area. So first, the price, if it is respecting those levels, it would be having a little bit of delay correction there and then pumping towards this. So even if we get slowed a little bit around 0.36, 0.37, don't be confused. That's because of the long-term factors playing in. Because in that long-term factor, look at the MACD is already on the positive side and it is again crossing to the upside. Wow, that's huge. Why? Because at the same time, if you look at the RSI, this particular support resistance zone. Now the bottom is support, the top is resistance, these two horizontal lines which I have plotted. So if we zoom back out and look at it on a weekly, now if you want to zoom out and see that, let me see if it is here. The lines are not actually present here. I think I actually deleted that after creating that stuff, but I'll actually do that again for you guys. So if you look at this, that was the resistance area which the price was respecting from a long time. And if you plot that to here, say the support line here, which will actually give you that view, a support resistance, a support resistance. So that again takes us back into this one, right? So that line is valid from a long time, and that shows us the price is just going to break above, and that means the bulls are awake, right? The bulls are awake, and when the bulls in XRP is getting awake, the problem is they're so mad that the impulsive moves are so huge. So if you're waiting just to catch those impulsive moves, you may miss the first leg upside. Yeah, it's okay, you can buy after that correction, but that would actually reduce the total amount of profit which you're looking at. Now that's for the XRP perspective. If you're looking at the general market, say majority would be looking at Bitcoin. I can actually lay out some perspectives which we discussed previously in the Patreon. So if you are looking at this, you can see that if you continue these perspective, if you measure these back in the last cycle, what happened there, and put it here, say the first one was 89%, the second one was 51%. Here, the first one was 350%, the second was around 200%. Now, what are we measuring? The bounce from the 200-day moving average after the correction. The same here, we measured that one, then here. So it is showing a similar trend. Now, the difference being, if it is acting like this, you have to see it was around 90% here. The first one is around 350% here. The second one was like 50% there. Here it's 200%. So if you look at that, it's going to go way higher than the previous bull run. Now, just the previous bull run would take you around 600,000 Bitcoin. That's in USD terms, and that's a huge amount. So if you consider these fluctuation, this increase, it would go towards 1 million. And when I see that being called out by, say, Rawl, like 1 million towards Bitcoin to 1 million, looking at these indicators, yeah, it is possible that it may happen. Say you can give a 40% chance for that. But at the same time, as institutional investors are getting in the market, you have to look at this side of technicals too, because they can manipulate you, right? So there is a possibility we may correct back towards this particular level, which is around, say, 13K, 13,500, and then bounce to the all-time highs. But looking at the MACD and RSI, it kind of, feels like, no, there is a chance that it may burst to the upside on a weekly, right? But zooming in on the same weekly and looking at a chance for a rejection at these levels, because there would be a lot of profit taking for those guys who have bought back here or here if they haven't taken their profits here. That's around 14K previously. So now if they are doing that, the price can actually retrace towards $9,000, $10,000 Bitcoin. Now that's just 1% probability. And even if that is 1%, in crypto markets, which is so volatile and manipulated, you have to consider those. So as we saw in the price fluctuations, anything can happen anytime, because that's where we are right now in the market cycle. And then we kind of get to see this from Brad highlighting, there is an issue in Bitcoin. Like, he's just highlighting this to the world of audience, which would be listening to him right now, from regulators, central bankers, all those giants. And then he also highlighted to the US regulators, like a little bit of a flag of caution, that in the next 6 months, if you guys don't give us proper regulatory clarity, we're going to move out where there is proper regulation. That finger is like, it's pointing towards UK, Singapore, Japan and all. So US is looking like, if Ripple does that, a 10 billion company, others may follow the suit. So they don't actually, I don't think they'll push them outside. Now, yes, there is still a chance that the regulators are controlled by the Chinese money and they may push it outside to control the Chinese stuff, right? They have to keep that show going. So that's this thing, right? The mining power is huge for Bitcoin. If it's being highlighted, the climate change guys will kick them out. So, that kind of narrative is still there. So guys, that's all for today, and if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. If you have any doubts, comments, suggestions, do let me know in the comment section below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.